What I want to talk about is improving on your follow-up strategies so that your results improve. And as your results improve, your income is going to improve. And that's where the nicer car, the nicer house, the better savings account, whatever that looks like for you, if we can improve our follow-up, we're going to improve our paychecks. And there's a variety of things we can do with those paychecks, as we all know. How you can be the greatest salesperson on the planet.
Welcome to the Rethink Sales Show. My name is Derek Kelly. I'm joined by Jim Shorkey. And Jim, something you were talking about last episode was the importance of follow-up. So I noticed a lot of people often don't really know what happens when they follow up and they don't get a response, or they follow up twice and they don't get a response. How do you...
Well, explain. What do you mean they don't get a response?
I called Jim Shorkey's been on my list as somebody I want to connect with. You're maybe a prospective client. I've called you. You never answered me. I called you back. You didn't answer. I texted you. You said, hey, I'm interested in connecting, Derek. I've called you now 2 or 3 times. I don't got a response.
There's a point where you would no longer follow up on that person because you don't want to be a pest. But there's a couple little caveats I'll throw at you, okay? Number one, you've got to get very good at leaving compelling text messages.
Never thought about that. Yeah.
So a great text message would be something along these lines. And this is me talking
Spontaneously.
Off the cuff. Yeah, spontaneously, yeah. I would leave you a message, Derek Kelly. Hey, Derek, this is Jim. Great news on the deal. Please give me a call as soon as you can. I'll give you all the details. Okay? So that's a compelling message.
Piques interest, yeah.
Great news on your trade value. Whatever that would be, I want to leave a compelling message that would cause them to call me, okay? And it's not BS. I would then tell them what I have in mind.
Yeah, you'd actually, you wouldn't want to lie to them, right?
No, I'm not going to lie. No.
Yep.
I want to talk about the deal. I have an idea that I think is going to make your payments lower, whatever the case may be. And this would be based on what we talked about before they left the dealership. So we're working on a B back here.
Yep.
Okay. So you got to get very good at leaving text messages, very good at emailing, okay? Very good at compelling voicemails.
Right, or all of them, right?
Well, no, I'm sorry. No question. But with this client, it may be texting or email or a voicemail, right? But we got to get good at, all three, of course. And we may do all three with one client.
That's what that's going to, yeah.
Okay. So let's back up a second. So we have a client that we're going to call. Okay. The very first thing we need to do when we call the client, assuming that they do in fact answer the phone, is we need to remove the curse of the call. Are you familiar with this idea?
Briefly, just because you've told it to me, but I don't want to spoil it for the audience. I've heard it once.
Okay, so let's just role play, okay? So you answer the phone.
Hey, Derek Kelly here.
Hey, Derek, Jim Shorkey. Did I interrupt anything important?
No, this is a good time.
That's removing the curse of the call. Okay? Now, if you're in the middle of something that's compelling, how long is this call going to last? You're busy. You're
hey, Jim, I'm having dinner with my family. Can you?
Goodness, congratulations. That's great. When's a good time to call you back?
Why don't we talk at 9 a.m. tomorrow?
Okay. How about if I put you on the calendar for 9 a.m. tomorrow, and I'll talk to you then. Enjoy your dinner.
Thanks so much. Talk to you soon.
That's a call, brother. That's a call. That's a real call. It's called removing the curse of the call. The client it's possible in this busy world that they are in fact in the middle of something important. And when they are, you're not gonna engage them. They're busy, right? And we've all been busy, and we get that call, and somebody starts yakking. And remember, I told you the art of selling is not the art of talking; it's listening. So this is another version of that. So I call that removing the curse from the call, and it's actually not my idea. I got it from somebody else over the years, and I do that every single time. If I call Amy, my wife, and she picks up and says, hey, honey, how you doing? Did I catch you at a bad time? Did I interrupt anything important? Is it a good time or a bad time? Because she may be busy, and she's my wife. And we're not making follow-up calls, but if she is busy, I don't want to interrupt her, right? She's my wife.
Yeah.
It's called removing the curse of the call, however you would choose to do that, right? So I would get very good at that. I would get very good at leaving a compelling voicemail message, a really good one. This is a great way to sell.
Yeah.
Say, hey, this is Derek Kelly. This is Jim Shorkey calling from the Jim Shorkey Family Auto Group. Hey, I wanted to, number one, thank you so much for stopping in any other day. I'm really grateful that you stopped in. And I got an update on the deal that I want to talk to you about. So if you could, please give me a call. It's good news. It's a very good news. And I look forward to hearing from you. And I'm going to repeat my cell phone number in case they don't have it. Jim Shorkey, 412-651, et cetera. So I want to get real good at leaving compelling voicemail messages, because that might be the only thing I have. Maybe they're not going to answer my call, but they will listen to my voicemail. And if it's compelling enough, they're going to call me back.
Yep.
And so they may not even listen to my voicemail, but they will check their email. And if it's compelling enough, they're going to maybe email me back. I got my foot in the door, right? And the same thing with texting. So if we can get a text conversation going, not ideal. It's not what I want. I'd rather be sitting there in the showroom with them eyeball to eyeball, but it doesn't always work out that way. So we got to get real good at, number one, making the phone calls, removing the curse of the call. Number two, emailing and texting compelling messages. And here's one that gets really lost in the shuffle. When you're making phone calls, my recommendation would be, if you're going to make a lot of phone calls, get a headset with a microphone. Now, we had headsets. I know there's other ways now.
Right.
That's fine. But I want to have the ability to have hands-free conversations. Why is that? Because anywhere from 40 to 90% of your communication is nonverbal. And we tend to sit on our hands when we're on the phone. So we're taking away that component. And I called that, when I was training on how to do proper phone calling, smiling into the phone. They can feel your smile right through the phone. And I would recommend, when you're calling clients, to be walking around. You're much more enthusiastic on your feet than you are sitting down. So if you have hands free, you can actually walk around, get a few steps in, which is a good thing, and you can have a great conversation. Now, if you have to take notes on that conversation, of course, you go to your desk and you sit down, take the notes. That's easy, but it's hands-free. How are you going to take notes when your hands are holding onto a phone?
Yeah, it's so good. I've started to implement this in my own process. I bought a huge, you guys don't have to go this crazy, but I bought like an 8-foot whiteboard in my office, right? And so when I'm on a call, I'll just have my AirPods in, or, something hands-free, and I'll stand there and walk and talk. And then when they're saying something I really want to jot down, I'll walk over to the whiteboard and I'll put their name and I'll write down what they're saying.
Okay, give me an idea that I'm going to want to write down on my whiteboard. I don't have a whiteboard, but give me an idea. So
something you want to write down. So I was talking to a guy the other day, right? He's in the energy and gas industry. So oil, gas, energy, stuff like that. So I was talking to him about a resource he wants to develop. And he was like, oh, the resource is on XYZ. And so I wrote that down, right?
That's a great idea. Would you mind if I write that down? Squeak, 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 squeak. They can hear me writing on this whiteboard, right? It makes a noise. I'm right in front of it. I've got my microphone right here. They can hear it. So I'm showing them that I care enough to write this down. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
So everything I do is going to be to show them that I care. So I talk with my hands. You can see it's very obvious, right? So do you, Derek. So when you sit on your hands, in essence, you're taking away a very important, vibrant part of your communication skills. And when you make a point, make the point. Great news. It changes the tonality of your voice and it comes right through the phone. So we call that smiling into the phone. We want to use body language intentionally when we're on the phone. I'd rather you on your feet than sitting down. You're much more enthusiastic on your feet. And remember, sales is nothing more than a transfer of enthusiasm from me to the client. So I can't pour from an empty vessel. I've got to get enthusiastic in here, and then I transfer that to the client. And I do that via the words I choose, the nonverbal communication I use, the words I choose, that's verbal. And nonverbal would be the way I talk to the client, and with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy, very high on energetic phone calls. And so when I do that the right way, what is the client becoming more attracted to me or less attracted?
Oh, more attracted. Yeah, they're just like, this guy cares.
This guy's cool, man. It's a cool dude. And so they're more attracted to me. And based on that attraction, they're going to be more compelled to buy from me. And so at this point with the phone call, I'm trying to get them to come into the dealership. Now, we want to, if we're not going to close it over the phone, we want to close it in person. We want to bring them in. And so the better job I do with the nonverbal communication, removing the curse of the sale of the call, answering the questions properly, the whole thing, the whole way we communicate needs to be much stronger over the phone than it would be even in person. And based on that, I'm going to get a certain number of those people back, and my numbers are going to be higher than your numbers. And if you're gonna make phone calls in this world today, you better get real good at leaving voicemail messages.
Yeah, and even for those of you guys who do some selling over Zoom, right, over video call, they say your energy has to be almost 4 or 5 times higher than it would be in person because people can't tell, right? They're like, oh, is Jim bored? Right? You're talking at a normal level, but you have to be a little louder, a little stronger when you're on that video call so people can feel your energy. And I imagine it's the same thing with the phone, right? People have to feel your energy.
And I left one out. So again, I'm old. I'm an old worn out car salesman. So we never did video. But boy, what a great idea.
Yeah.
So I call the client and interrupt anything important. Good, great. Got some great news on the deal. You know what? I really would like to talk to you eyeball to eyeball. Can we do a Zoom call or can I do a FaceTime? That's a great idea.
Yeah, because then you can see.
That.
Yeah.
And they would say, yeah, of course. All right, do me a favor. And however, I don't even know how to do FaceTime.
Right.
That's not something I do, but I do Zoom. As a matter of fact, that might even be a strategy I would develop as I'm thinking here, because I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking of better ideas.
Yeah, if somebody's, hey, I'm an hour and 30 minutes away, I'd love to come. You'd still be like, hey, come in the dealership if you can.
Well,
Please.
hold on. You're interrupting me. Thank you for interrupting me. I appreciate it.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
I'm kidding you. But anyways, I'm thinking like, okay, so I'm with the client. We do our thing. I do the best I can. I'm not closing a deal today. A great setup for having them leave the dealership would be to schedule a Zoom call before they leave. And it would be something like this. And I'm just thinking, I never did this, but you know what? You're leaving, and I want you to think over everything we've talked about today. But how about if we do this? How about if tomorrow morning we do a Zoom call and let's discuss this further? What I'll do is I'll research the deal in the meantime, see if there's anything else I can do in terms of improving the deal or improving the offer. And how about if we arrange to do a Zoom call, and that way we can include your wife in the conversation, who wasn't here maybe or whatever. But what a great strategy.
Yeah.
Zoom is the real deal. I love Zoom. We do a lot of Zoom.
Yeah, we do. We do.
We do a lot of Zoom meetings. We did one. I was in.
Yeah, last week you were in Florida.
I was in Florida.
And we were talking to Jason Vandeveer.
Yeah, Jason. Yeah, who's a guy that I mentored and has done great things. And he's a good kid. So we did a podcast via Zoom. Now, if we can do a podcast via Zoom, we can certainly do a further interaction with a client.
Yep.
And it's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So that's something I never even thought of.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Man, Jim, those were some great just follow-up strategies.
Yeah.
When people say, man, my follow-up's not working, what do I do? You gave that phenomenal answer. So, Jim, thank you. Thank you, guys. Again,
It's a pleasure.
like, comment, subscribe. We love your interaction. We love to hear from you. It also helps the algorithm recommend this content to more people. So,
And I have one more thing. One more thing. So when I was coming up, I had so much help from great mentors. And I always knew that it wasn't just me, that it was the mentors. And so when I was getting ready to retire from the automobile business, probably 5 years beforehand, that someday I'm going to develop this idea and take it to the public. And that's what this is. And so we are very grateful to be able to be discussing this and hopefully giving you good ideas, because I was given so many great ideas and so many plans and everything. That's what I'm here to do today. So thank you for